So ever since I signed up for this, I had this idea in mind for this reading. And just this morning I discovered a second one, so I'm going to take the opportunity to do what some people have done, do 2 readings. This one is special to my heart. If you know me long enough or you've seen me up here before, you've probably heard this before, but I can't read this too often. And I think with all the dancing I've been doing at the top of the park, I think I've finally become the geek of this story. This is by Robert Fulghum, the author of All I Really Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. This book is entitled, It Was on Fire When I Lay Down on It. Do you know about Geek Dancing? No, that's not a mistake in spelling. Not Greek, but geek dancing. Actually, geek is in the dictionary. It refers to a carnival performer whose act consists of doing weird things. Biting the head off a live chicken, for example. In current slang, a geek is someone who looks like he might be capable of doing something like that. A person who bears watching. I hear young people using the word to describe anybody who is older and independent in lifestyle. There's a kind of compliment implied. It means you're a little strange, but interesting. I guess it's true. A lot of us older types are a bit geeky. At some point, your genetic code presses a switch on in your head. You look in your closet to dress for the day and you say to yourself, who cares? You reach the point somewhere around 60 when you decide to just go ahead and weird out. You start out the door in your house slippers, headed for the grocery store, and you don't go back to change into shoes. To hell with it. Or you go out to the mailbox in your bathrobe, your oldest, sleaziest, comfiest bathrobe, and you don't give a damn who sees you. Or when someone rings the doorbell, you don't check the mirror to see how you look. You just open the door. It's their problem, whoever they are. So you aren't color coordinated anymore. So you don't make your bed every day. So your life becomes like your old car. Just as long as it runs and gets you there, who cares how it looks? Some people call this going to seed. Others call it the beginning of wisdom. Take your pick. But I was going to talk about geek dancing. When I get down and my life is log-jammed, I need some alternative action, I go where people dance. I don't mean joints where people go to get crocked and then wobble around on the floor to music. I mean places where people who really like to dance go to do that. I like dancers. Never met a serious dancer who wasn't a pretty fine human being. And I enjoyed the never-ending pleasure of being surprised by just who the dancers are. It does me good to see a couple of ill-builts, kind of fat and homely, and solemn and all, get up on the floor and waltz like angels. When I see people like that on the street and start to look down my nose at them, a better voice in my head says, probably dancers. I feel better about them, and me, anyhow, about geek dancing. My favorite place, the Owl Tavern, has traditional jazz on Sunday nights from 6:30 to 9:30. The Geek Band plays swing music from Chicago and New Orleans from the good old days. Most of the people who show up are over 40. Blue-collar, one-beer types who have to be at work on Monday at 7:30. Not what you'd call a rowdy crowd. Dancers is what you'd call them. I like to look around and find the King Hill champion geek for the evening. An old guy wearing invisible house slippers and his bathrobe. Balding, white hair, short, wrinkled. The kind who sort of lists to port when he walks. One who you might think was strictly nursing home material if you saw him at a bus stop. But you see him here. And you know, a dancer. A dancing geek. And he usually has his wife, the geekess, with him. A bit younger, always fluffed up a bit for dancing, and has been for 50 years. Check her shoes. If they are black with mid-heels and a strap across the instep, it's a sure bet what she came for and what she is going to do. The music cranks up, he takes her by the hand and kind of limps onto the floor. It's an act, just to set you up, and then it happens. She steps into a permanent spot formed by his embrace. The years fall away, and once again, Cinderella and the prince move to the music in the room and the music in their hearts. It takes about 40 years to dance with a partner like this. Such ease, such grace, with all kinds of little moves that have been perfected without words. He dances flat-footed and with an economy of motion. She responds to unseen suggestions to twirl out and around and back. Their eyes meet from time to time, and you know that you're seeing a pretty happy marriage there on the floor. You'd have to love someone a long time to do what they're doing. Sometimes the old geeks ask another lady to dance, and somebody usually asks the geekess. They make whoever they are dancing with look pretty good. And feel pretty nice too, I bet. An 81-year-old geekess once asked me to dance on such an evening. I gave her my best, and she stayed right with me. "You are real good, honey," she said as I escorted her to her seat. I lived off that compliment for a week. I want to be, and I fully intend to be, an old geek dancer, and my geekess and I are working on our dance routine. I realize that it is a public responsibility to help everybody stay as young as long as they can, to set good examples. And I don't want to die quietly in my bed either. But at the end of the last dance, some lovely night, sit down in a chair, smile, and pass on. All this reminds me of something I heard about the Hopi Indians. They don't think there is much difference between praying and dancing. They're both necessary for a long life. The Hopis should know, I guess, as they have been through a lot and are still around. They say that to be useful, Hopi is the one who has a quiet heart and takes part in all the dances. Yes. Now, this was all I was going to read, but this morning, as I read the latest edition of the Daily Word, the topic was free, and I thought, wow, how interesting. So this doesn't take long, I promise. This is what it says. Living from my Christ nature sets me free. As a spiritual being, I am always free. I remember this at those moments I feel at the mercy of an unpredictable world. While I may not be able to control what happens around me, I can take comfort knowing I don't need to. I'm free to choose my response, but even more, I'm free to meet life from my divinity, the breadth of my spiritual power. In prayer, I claim divine ideas. I use my gift of imagination to envision the life I wish to live and the gift of will to make choices to bring it about. I speak affirmations to raise my consciousness and help create conditions for my highest and best outcomes to manifest. I find precious freedom realizing that life doesn't happen to me, life happens through me. There's a quote from John chapter 8:36. So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. Thanks.